For this tutorial, I'm going to walk you through the production settings I use when producing a video with a table of contents, sometimes referred to as a TOC. The settings I recommend are ones that have worked well for my tutorials, but feel free to make adjustments to your settings that best fit your needs. When you've finished editing your project and are ready to produce into a shareable format, click the Produce and Share button found above the clip bin area. On the first page of the production wizard, expand the drop-down menu and choose Custom Production Settings and click Next. Select Flash as the output because this format will work well when posting your video on the web, and continue to the Flash controller page. Select Express Show from the controller drop-down menu and make sure that the box next to Table of Contents is checked. Leave the theme set to black and select MP4 as the file format. Make sure that the video size is set to the editing dimensions. The dimensions might be a bit larger than you originally set, as it's compensating for the table of contents and the control bar. And then click on the Flash Options button. We'll look at the settings in the first 3 tabs for this tutorial, and leave the Controls tab as is. Under the Video tab, everything for the MP4 can be left at their default settings. If you want to adjust anything to improve the video quality, I recommend changing the encoding mode to bitrate, and then change the kilobits per second to something between 800 and 2000. Note that increasing the bitrate will increase the file size of your produced video. My suggestion is to try the default of 800 kilobits per second first, and see if the quality looks fine to you. Next, click on the Audio tab and change the bitrate to 96 kilobits per second. I sometimes increase this to as much as 128 kilobits per second, but 96 usually sounds just fine, and saves me a little bit on the file size of my produced video. Under the Table of Contents tab are quite a few things that you can do, and I'll touch on only the areas that I typically use or modify for my tutorials. You can add a short title to the Table of Contents so that it's visible throughout the entire video. Over here are all the marker names that were added to the timeline, and are now the TOC entries. Any of these can be renamed, and I recommend shortening them to as few of words as possible. I'll show you the benefits of this in a few moments. You can also uncheck any entries that you don't want displayed in the TOC, and indent entries to appear as subtopics. For the display options, I recommend using the fixed left option so that the TOC is always visible for your viewers. Click Apply to save all changes, and then OK to close this window. Since there's a table of contents in this video, I recommend expanding the Video Dimensions menu and selecting Custom. This allows you to see a preview of the video dimensions with the TOC. The main thing to look for is whether or not any of the TOC entries are cut off from being too long. You can customize the width of the TOC down here, but it has to be a minimum of 160 pixels. Enter in a new number and press Tab or Enter on your keyboard to see an update to the preview. When it looks the way you want it, click OK to return to the Flash Controllers page. And remember that you can always go back into Flash Options and make changes to the TOC entries. Let's continue on to the Video Options page. The only thing to do here is check the box next to Embed Video into HTML. This is going to make sharing the video pretty simple, as Camtasia Studio will automatically create an HTML page and embed the produced video on it for you. You can also click this HTML Options button and enter in a custom title that will display as the page title in the browser window. This is very cool. The final page of the production wizard is where you enter a production name and choose a location to save your produced video to on your computer. I like to navigate to the same folder where I saved my CamRec and CamProj for this particular project. I recommend leaving this box checked, as it will help keep all your produced files nicely organized in a folder. Then click Finish to begin rendering your video. When finished rendering, your video will open in a web browser to view, and you can see how the table of contents works for easy navigation. Now that the video is produced, it's ready to be shared with your audience. The final video tutorial in this Getting Started series will show you how to share your video on the web by creating a hyperlink to the produced HTML file.